You're listening to Staying Wild, the podcast where we ditch burnout and build outrageous success and lives the wild way. I'm Adelaide, the high-performance coach James Bond would secretly hire if pink was his vibe. I've helped over 500 high achievers land promotions, smash personal bests, pivot careers, achieve their full potential, and actually love their lives. Yes, I have. All in under a year. No fluff, just deep mindset work, potent energy, and breakthroughs worth popping champagne over. Now it's time to join me and Woolfie on the wild side with today's episode. I am so excited to have you join me for another episode of Staying Wild. This masterclass is all about how to access flow state on demand. And then I have a very special guest called Emil, who is a pro splitboarder. For those that don't know, splitboarding is when you're snowboarding in the mountains in the backcountry. I'm really excited for this episode with Emil and this conversation. Oh, Woolfie, she would like to join. Just don't look at my cam, it's a mess. Emil gives us a glimpse into the mindset of a pro athlete. We delve into overcoming fears, performing under pressure, reflecting on challenging events. I feel I did Emil a little dirty in the interview. At least when I was listening, I can hear myself agreeing with him and being involved in the conversation when he is talking. So I apologize for that. I was just so engrossed and engaged in the conversation that I almost forgot that I was actually the interviewer. I hope that doesn't take away from the conversation. I think it is so interesting. I really admire Emil for following his joy and his passion in such a thoughtful, intentional, and beautiful way. I really think we can learn a lot from him. I hope you feel as inspired by him as I did. As always, the first part of this podcast is the masterclass, and then the second part is the conversation with Emil. Enjoy. Hello, and welcome to today's masterclass. How to drop into flow fast, and it's not what you think. This masterclass is for high performers who want to get in the zone without burning out or pushing hard, or for athletes who want to perform at their best during a race. Pushing hard, I actually had to pause for a moment, because when we want to achieve a certain result, we do need to push to a certain extent. But I wanted to teach you how to get into flow more easily and quickly without having to push yourself into flow. So I hope that clarifies what I mean by pushing hard. Flow isn't magic, nor is it a unicorn state. It's not reserved for monks or Olympic athletes. It's a strategy, a mindset, a state. And once you know how to drop into flow, it's yours on command. Now you're going to see that I'm looking down at my computer. I have found that by doing lots of different masterclasses, and actually I'm bulking them at the moment as I'm about to go on holiday, I need some sort of notes in front of me. As I was saying, flow is not just something that spontaneously happens, as research and a lot of the sports psychologists out there have us believe. First, I'm going to show you the classic way to enter flow, which is very conventional. Then we're going to do it my way, a little unconventional, a lot more fun. Now, I'm not saying my way is better, but you know. So what is flow state? Flow is what happens when your mind, body, energy align in a grounded way. You lose track of time, you're completely absorbed, and you just go. In psychology, flow was coined by, and I apologize if I pronounce this name wrong, Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. And it's a neurological state of optimal performance, heightened focus, and effortless momentum. Your brain waves drop into alpha and theta, that relaxed but alert state. Your prefrontal cortex deactivates, which results in less inner critic, more intuition, more going with the flow. In the late 1960s, Csikszentmihalyi and co. noticed that when artists, especially painters, when their projects were going really well, they ignored everything else, often at a significant personal cost. So they persisted despite hunger, discomfort, tiredness, until the work was complete. They were in flow. Now, here are 9 signs you are in flow, whether it's at work, in your sport, or doing something creative. You find the activity rewarding and joyful simply by doing it, rather than the rewards received upon completion. So if you're an athlete doing sport, you're loving your sport, not just the medal that you may or may not receive at the end. And you may find it so joyful, your activity, that you're willing to go to great lengths to experience it again. The second sign is deep concentration and focus. Third is deep engagement and connection with yourself and your environment. Fourth, a loss of self-consciousness. So that inner critic feeling, that goes away. Time distortion. Things appear to happen more quickly than in reality. That feeling of effortlessness, of floating. You are fully immersed in the present moment. Optimal performance and productivity. Action and awareness merge, increasing response time and ease to a changing environment or situation. Feelings of harmony, being in the zone, in sync, peace, connection, oneness. Nothing else matters, blissful joy. You're on a current that carries you along effortlessly during the activity. Creativity, alertness, excitement, feelings of awe, passion, purpose, autonomy, freedom, and mastery. These are also feelings associated with flow. Now, for flow to happen, research has identified 9 key conditions. The first one is short, clear, specific goal or goals. The skills challenge balance. This is the golden rule of flow. You pay most attention to the task at hand when the task slightly exceeds your skill set. So if you're on an adventure, it's type 2 fun. You are getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. If the task is too easy, for example, that often results in apathy and boredom. But if the task is too difficult, that can result in anxiety, overwhelm, disappointment. All of these feelings sabotage that flow state. You need to have focus and intense concentration. As we said, the reward is internally driven. You perform the activities for their own sake, rather than to achieve something external. The experience for you is optimal. It is what makes your soul sing. You get immediate and actionable feedback, which promotes continuing progress. You have an optimistic and positive mindset. You have a sense of autonomy over the task. You need to feel a sense of freedom and control over what you are choosing to do. You have eliminated distraction and multitasking from your environment. So you need to minimize tech use like social media and the notifications pinging on your phone. 0 scrolling. So just take a moment to start thinking about when you last were in flow state. And what does it mean to be in flow for you? Where would you like to be more in flow? Because although we have these 9 conditions, as you are going to find out, we can manipulate how our brain works to our advantage. But I just want you to start thinking about, when was I last in flow? What does flow mean to me? What does it really feel like for me? And where would I actually like to access that more? If you want, you can pause the podcast just to have a little reflection, a little think, before we move on to what the experts like Csikszentmihalyi, Kotler say it takes to get into flow. We're going to go through the classic formula. They say the first step is having clarity and that balance between your skill and the challenge. It's a bit like a maths equation. We have clear goal plus just beyond comfort zone challenge equals flow sweet spot. You need that right balance between skill and challenge. As we said, this is the golden rule. It reminds me a bit of Goldilocks and the 3 bears. I don't know whether you've had this in your country, but the tale goes that she sits down at Papa Bear's porridge She's like, oh, this is too salty. And I feel that's when it comes to the challenge, oh, this is a little bit too easy. This is boring. And then she sits down at Mama's Bear porridge. Ugh, this is too sweet. And this is when that challenge is too hard. This is making me feel anxious and overwhelmed and just icky. I don't like it. And then she sits down at Baby Bear's porridge, and it is just right. And this is when our challenge hits us, that perfect balance between, yes, we're out of our comfort zone, but it's still exciting. We still want to partake because we know we have the skills, even though it's going to stretch us a little bit. We're like, this is fun. So I want you to think about a very clear goal you have, and if it is sitting at a 7 to 8 out of 10. 10 being it's really challenging, and actually it's a bit too hard. And 0 being this is too easy and it's hitting that boredom section. So what goal do you have that's really clear, and is it hitting that 7, 8 rating? Because that's where that sweet spot is going to be encouraged for flow. The second step to encouraging flow is removing distractions from your environment. Flow hates interruptions. Social media, tabs, notifications, people coming in and out, noise. This is focus's kryptonite. This is flow's kryptonite. So it's really important you create, and they suggest, a 90-minute sacred space. This is when your phone is off or on airplane mode or on do not disturb. You've closed all those tabs. The noise is minimized, and you can play music that encourages flow, that encourages our brain to drop into those theta waves. We want to minimize noise that is distracting or irritating. It can be helpful to complete any tasks you've been putting off. So if you're trying to create flow, but you're thinking of this really horrible task you have been putting off, you don't want to do it, but actually it's getting quite stressful because you haven't done it, then that is the one you want to clear off your plate before creating this sacred space. So just get everything done that you need to get done beforehand. They say during these 90 minutes you can take breaks, and that's encouraged, but only to stretch or to get a drink. Really do not go on tech, and they say to avoid conversations with others. So if you're doing this at work, maybe you need to have like a piece of paper on your door being like, please just do not disturb me. I'm in my 90 minutes sacred space or flow space or whatever you want to call it to feel cool to the office. The next thing they say to create, so the third step, is creating a pre-flow ritual. You want to prime the brain for flow. And this can be breath work to help you calm your nervous system, become grounded in yourself. Movement is also a great way to do this. Music too. It's really important to feel calm, grounded, and to tune into yourself. This gives your brain the cue that, hey, we're now about to enter flow. The next and the final step that they recommend to entering flow state is to focus only on completing one thing. Multitasking kills momentum. You want to choose one needle-moving task. To help you bring this all together, we can ask 4 questions. The first one is, what's the one thing you need to do today to move forward? So getting clear on that goal. The next question is, why do I need to complete this task? We want to get intrinsically motivated. What is internally driving you to complete this task? It's really important that when we're in flow that we're actually enjoying ourselves. So what would make your task fun to complete? Why do you enjoy this task? Is it set at the right balance between skill and challenge? If not, is there anything you need to do in order to hit that sweet spot to meet that golden rule? And finally, what are the 1 to 3 key distractions you're going to remove for the next 90 minutes? When you are ready, set your timer, set the vibe, let's go. The 5th and final step for flow is riding that wave or that current. Flow creates flow. If you've watched my masterclass on mental toughness when we look at self-talk, you will know More feelings create more feelings. More thoughts create more thoughts. So when you are in flow, it creates more thoughts and feelings associated with flow. So you get into this nice loop. And once you drop in, batch that work, batch those tasks, protect that state. When it's working, they recommend to keep going. Don't stop for admin, distractions, or for someone else's needs. Maintain that healthy flow boundary. So now we have quickly gone through the classic way to enter flow. I'm now going to flip the script. And this is how I teach my clients how to create any state they desire. Actually, in this case, it is flow, because I'm just going to say it. Following the textbook path only gets you textbook results. So while this works, it's also a little slow, a little prescribed, and you're still kind of there crossing your fingers and like, oh, I really hope doing these rituals, creating the space, like please enter flow. Now we are parting with convention. If you are new here, hello, I'm Adelaide. I fully healed from severe chronic fatigue syndrome, or ME, which I was bedridden with for almost, 3 or 4 years. And most recently, I fully recovered from 2 years of PMDD, a severe hormone disorder, which includes severe depression. Honestly, it is truly delightful. I recovered from all of these things, the chronic fatigue in 3 days, the PMDD took a bit longer, using the mind-body connection. So when I say the brain can be rewired to create life-changing transformation, I mean it. I have lived it more than once and in quite extraordinary ways. Not many people have been able to achieve what I have achieved through rewiring the brain. So when I am teaching you and creating these masterclasses, my perspective is very different from your expert psychologist. Just bear that in mind. We are coming at this now from a more neuroscience perspective, less psychological perspective. Often these subjects, in my experience, don't talk to each other very much. And then just to throw in some fun neurolinguistic programming and hypnosis, which is just changing states, changing feelings. We're in one state when we're listening to opera music. We're in a different state when we're listening to rock music. And this is what we are going to do, is I'm going to teach you how to enter the state you desire. Let's recap quickly. Your brain is plastic. It changes, grows, and develops as a result of how you use it. Your brain doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is imaginary. This is why pro athletes use visualization. They are effectively creating memories. Michael Phelps, if you read about him, he was big into visualization. All of this means you can activate and strengthen specific neural pathways on demand, which create your desired thoughts and feelings. This means you can drop into peak states like flow, in theory, whenever you choose. And this isn't a cute theory. It's not woo-woo. This is neuroscience. This is neurolinguistic programming and hypnotherapy. The latter two have not the best reputation. Completely understand why. Very unregulated industry. The creators did not have the best reputation, let's just say. However, let's keep an open mind. When I say these 3 things combined saved my life, they saved my life. And I'm not using that as clickbait. I'm using that as truth. If I hadn't gone through the mind-body training that I did, I would still be in my bed. Probably a lot worse, as the doctors told me that would be my reality. With the PMDD, it was severe depression. So who knows where I've ended up if I hadn't once again harnessed the power of the brain. If you're thinking, but I can't visualize, but I don't think I believe in this, that's fine. Your reality reflects your beliefs. I will say this though, I have a client with aphantasia. This is those who don't. So when we're reading a fantasy book, a lot of us can see the characters, the environment. I mean, Sarah J. Maas does this so brilliantly, but those with aphantasia, they can't see that. Maybe they can see light, but that's really it. My client can access states on demand. So there is no excuse if you're like, oh, I can't visualize. That's just where you are right now in your journey. So let's start down this unconventional path. We have covered what most gurus teach. Find a challenge, set a clear goal, enter the sweet spot between stress and skill. Here is what I teach. The easiest way to enter flow is to remember the version of you who is already in flow and then rewire into that state. By this, I mean, we're going to go back in time to a moment when you were in flow and embody that now. We're going to do that through a brief visualization. If you are driving, you're out in the world, and you're just not in a safe space to visualize, you can listen along, but don't actively partake in the visualization. If you would like to enter flow and use this as a practice, which you can do, then I recommend pausing this podcast and coming back to it when you can create that 90-minute sacred space. But the visualization here, I can't imagine taking more than 10 to 15 minutes, to be perfectly honest. So let's start this flow state activation exercise. I want you to get into a comfortable position, whether that is sitting, lying down, standing. If you're an athlete, maybe you're in your sport environment. For example, as I said, Michael Phelps used to visualize standing in the swimming pool. So he immersed himself in the environment to help his brain even more enter the state he desired. Once you are comfortable, gently close your eyes and turn your attention inwards. I would like you to place your right hand on your heart and your left hand on your stomach or your womb space. And begin deepening and slowing your breath. Breathe in through your nose and exhale longer out your mouth. Feel your heart beat slow as you breathe in, filling your belly, filling your lungs. And then exhale all of that out in a long breath. And now breathe in flow. Imagine it as a light or an energy. Breathing it in through your nose, into your body. And breathe out anything that no longer serves you. Feel your body getting lighter as you breathe in flow and breathe out anything that no longer serves you. Breathe in flow. Release anything that needs releasing. Now take yourself back to a time when you felt in flow. It can be any time, just one time that stands out to you. Often the first thing that comes to mind is the best one to go with. A time when you were present in that moment, when time disappeared. When you were deeply connected to yourself, your environment. Things felt effortless. Could have been during a race, when you were in the mountains, listening to music, in deep creative work, playing with your kids.
giving a presentation, even just gardening under the sun. Let your mind and your body remember that moment. Step into it as if you were there now. Feel it, see it, hear it, smell it. Use all of your senses. Feel yourself on that current or that flow, just being carried along. Wonderful. Immerse yourself in that experience, knowing the brain doesn't understand the difference between what is happening now and your memory. So when you're putting yourself in this experience, when you're going through that memory as if you are there now, it's as if you are experiencing it right now. Your brain thinks it's real. Your brain is activating all of those neural pathways you associate with flow. You're not imagining flow. You are in flow. Feel those incredible feelings of flow. Being in the zone. Truly connected to yourself. Your environment. Oneness. As you're there now, you realize how time is distorting, how nothing else really matters, just the present moment. Those blissful feelings, joy, harmony, inner peace. You're just floating as you're so deeply focused and engaged with what you're doing. Whatever flow feelings you are feeling, feel them going through your body, flowing through you, expanding into every cell, every fiber of your body. Everything is just clicking into place, flowing into place, going automatically without even thinking about it. Everything is just going right. You are one with the experience. Feel what that feels like. And notice any sounds or smells that are coming with feeling in flow. What are you hearing? What are you smelling? Do you notice any colours around you? What else do you see? Is there anything you're physically feeling too? Any textures? Any sensations in your body now you're in flow? As you're really connecting and engaging, feel those feelings of flow become even stronger and more powerful as they flow through your body, your mind, becoming more and more familiar to you. Feel how blissful that feels. Feel how easy it feels. And notice any colors connected with that feeling, any smells. Know that whenever you want to feel in flow, you just see that color floating through you, flowing through you. Or you smell that smell and instantly it takes you back to that moment of flow. Just like when we hear a song and it instantly transports us. Just like when we smell a perfume or a flower and it instantly transports us back to that memory, that time. Just like that, we're going to use this color or use this smell to transport us when we want instantly into flow. As you're feeling those feelings of flow, your neural pathways are strengthening. It's becoming easier and easier for you to enter flow. Feel what that feels like, knowing you can access this flowing feeling anytime you want. You just take yourself back to this time, or you see that color or smell that smell, and you'll feel that in the zone feeling, that flow feeling, that ease, oneness. Feel what that feels like. And when you're ready, you can now come back, knowing you can access flow whenever you want. Notice if there was a particular feeling, sound, sensation, smell, texture, color that came with flow. That is your anchor. Lock it in. Anytime you want to come back to flow, use that to return here anytime. It is your gateway to flow. The more you practice this kind of visualization, the faster and stronger the neural pathways for flow will become, the better they will get at their job. So flow will become easier and easier for you to enter on demand. We're not just waiting for flow to spontaneously happen. We're not just hoping that the 4 steps we take will help us enter flow. We are purposefully and deliberately activating the neural pathways for flow so we can enter that state when we want. I hope you enjoyed this insight and practice into how your brain works and the power of visualization and how we can use it to shortcut our way into certain feelings and experiences that we're often told are impossible or can't happen, or it takes a really long time to happen. It was using visualization similar to this that enabled me to go from barely being able to get out of bed to Ironmans, to CrossFit, to walking miles a day, to adventuring around the world. So these practices are really powerful. Understanding how the brain works in this way, it really is life-changing. If you don't want to wait for the muse or to chase this dopamine high, as you now know, flow isn't magic. Flow is you. You have the ability to access this mental resource whenever you want. You can design your environment and guide your brain into flow. And when you do, you don't just perform better, you're also feeling better. And that is what mental performance looks like in the real world. It's not about luck. It's not about hustling hard. It is about training your brain to work for you, not against you. And just like any high performance tool, this skill sharpens with repetition. Remember, your brain is like a muscle. Just like how we train our body in the gym or outside to fine tune it to complete a certain adventure or activity or to perform in an optimal way for an event or a race, we want to do that with the brain. So welcome to your new normal. Let me know how your flow state practice unfolds. And if anything felt sticky or unclear, drop me a message on LinkedIn or Instagram or in the comments below. As always, happy to dive deeper in Thursday's wild episode. And if you loved this masterclass and you want to master your mindset, you like what I'm saying, you want to access your next level and make performance feel like freedom, make success feel as good as it looks, then download my free Burnout Escape Protocol. If you're like, actually, I'm not in burnout or burning out, that's not really for me, you would like a career breakthrough in just 35 days, then you will love my self-study, The Rise of the Wild Woman program, which is just 990 kroners or £69 for my British friends, and it is worth every damn krone. And if you don't believe me, you can read the testimonials. And then if you're like, Adelaide, I'm hearing you, but like free stuff isn't for me. I don't want a self-study program. I want someone to hold my hand and guide me in the most effective and efficient way to achieving my next level. Then VIP one-to-one coaching may be just for you. If you're curious, send me a message or click the link in the show notes. Now, on to my wonderful special guest. You are in for a treat. Hello, Emil. Welcome to the Staying Wild podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm super excited to dive in because, as I understand from your amazing Instagram account, there's so many cool adventures on there, which is why I had to reach out. You are a splitboarder.
Yeah, true. Yeah, mainly splitboarding for sure, and then mix it up with surfing when the snow is shit.
I'm starting to lean towards surfing myself, actually. As a skier, I won't hold splitboarding against you. But tell us how you came into splitboarding, because it's still quite unusual in the backcountry snow experience or adventures.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was like riding park for a really long time, contests and everything, which was super fun. But then I like got a pretty bad, like heavy injury with like ACL and it just added up in the end with a lot of injuries. So at a point I was like a little bit tired of the park riding because it's like kind of high risk, in a way, on your body, like physically. So that's kind of how I ended up moving to study. So I moved to a place called Volda. It's where I'm living right now. And the coincidence was that the mountains here was freaking amazing, like proper alpine, and with the surfing as well. So I had just some background search, but like not a lot. But I knew there was mountains. But once I like really moved here, I was like, oh, okay, this is proper stuff. Yeah, that kind of launched that whole era of like splitboarding, where I just started a little bit and then it kind of was more and more over the years.
Did you start out wanting to become a full-time adventure athlete, or
No.
did it just happen?
Oh, that has totally gradually happened in a way. It was like totally not on purpose. I don't know. I kind of linked up with some people that were doing it a lot and they kind of showed me around and I got hooked at a point, like, or more and more, I would say. And then, like sponsor deals started coming in. And that was like when I was like, oh shit, this is like a proper thing. And I can do my like passion and kind of make it work,
Mm.
Yeah.
Did you finish your studying as you were ramping up? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that's like the perfect combination when you can study and then ramp up your passion as well at the same time.
Yeah.
And for some of us, it can be tricky or challenging to follow the joy or know when to say yes to opportunities that can feel like a big risk. When you were building up your sponsorship deals,
Yeah.
did you ever have that moment where you just were like, okay, I'm just going to ignore the conventional way of life, like the career path, and I'm just going to say yes.
Okay. Yeah.
This life and just see what happens.
Yeah, I was so committed that I wanted like a backup, So I didn't want to go like all in on the snowboarding because I was like, what if it doesn't work out with like the body or whatever would happen, injuries. So I was really committed to want to finish the studies, because then I had like a proper backup. So I was studying for teacher. So by the time I like started developing this snowboarding career in a way, I like simultaneously worked on the studies just so that I could always jump back to like regular work if like the injuries would be there or if I would get like sick and tired of it or,
Yeah, that's really smart to have that backup plan and to have, I guess, a safety net as well.
Exactly, yeah.
So that then really enabled you to go all in on your passion and what you enjoyed the most.
Yeah, for sure. Because I was like being a little bit vulnerable before that, when I was doing park riding, I didn't have like the studies or anything like that. And when I tore my ACL, I realized that I didn't have a backup because I was like, oh shit, I am so stuck right now. So I kept that like in the back of my head when I moved here, and I was like, yeah, if I want to make this work, I need like a backup. Yeah.
I really love that, because I think some of us, especially on social media, you can see people living these amazing lives and be like, oh, everyone's telling you just go for it and you'll be caught. But it is sensible, as you said, just to have that backup just in case.
Yeah.
And then when you've been developing your career and following your passion, what does that feel like? Are you just following like the joy? Like, how do you say yes to opportunities and no to other ones?
So I don't know. Right now, I feel like I'm in a good space right here. So I kind of start like the season wraps around this area. So I'm feeling like whatever happens here, I don't want to miss out on it. I'm really like keeping this as a base right now, and like I don't know, trying to explore the area. It's just so endless here, you know? For sure, when the opportunities are there and people are like, yo, you want to come ride in northern Norway or something, I'm down for sure to like do something else.
Yeah. What I'm really curious about is figuring out, how do you follow your passion and your joy? Is it a feeling you're chasing, or do you have a vision and you're working towards that?
Yeah, so no, for sure, it's mostly passion,
Mhm.
100%. It's I don't know, what's fun about it is you get to ride with like your homies, and I'm really lucky that I have a good crew. So it's like really all about the passion for me. But then it's for sure has transferred into being like more work the recent years, with like ramping up with film projects, and mostly filming. The filming stuff is what like is work kind of.
Mm.
But it's like a really fun type of work, you know?
Yeah.
I really want to do it, so I feel like it's still passion, but it's like in a way also transforming into work. So I'm trying to balance that part to like not get overworked or like burnt out in a way, you know?
Yeah, because it's so easy in a way to get burned out, especially when you love something so much and you just kind of burn both ends of the candle.
Yeah.
What has been the thing so far that's enabled you to keep that balance?
Oh, good question. I mean, seasons for sure, you know,
Mhm.
summer, winter. You get a full like reload. Like at the end of the season, I'm definitely a bit tired, especially when editing season starts and like you gotta cut the movies and all that stuff. But I'm trying to not rely too much on like getting a income from like that will be my main income from snowboarding. So I'm trying to
Mhm.
balance it with also working as a teacher. And I think that kind of makes it more enjoyable, because then I can, you know, not worry too much about the economic part of like snowboarding, and I
Yeah.
can just go work as a teacher whenever I want, and kind of fills out each other in a bit.
Yeah, that's nice. So you have a balance between being a teacher, snowboarding, and doing the films.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's really cool. So I guess if you have the teacher balancing out, you don't have to say opportunities because you feel you should, or you feel because of the money.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So then I can say it's passion, and it's like I don't have to work as hard to deliver like my max capacity and go all on it. Although I
Mm.
do, it's more like passion driven in a way. It's like
Yeah.
because it's fun, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Have you ever felt that you should work more as a teacher, or the pressure to be more conventional in the way you live your life?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's funny when I'm like in a job interview at the
Mhm.
schools, and they're like, uh, and they're like, "Oh, you're kind of missing a few classes to have like a what's it called? Like a regular job, or like not the substitute, but what's it
Like a
called?
full-time teaching position?
Yeah, exactly. So
Mm.
they will be like, yeah, if you are you looking for that, or if you want it, you should have this all these classes and stuff." Which is a bit funny, because I'm like, no, I don't really want to work like full time like that. But when you put it like that, maybe I should, you know?
Mm.
But I don't know. I'm trying. Right now, I'm trying to only do the substitute because it gives me so much freedom. Then I also feel like in say 5 years, and it's like I want to apply for a new job, and they're like, "Oh, what? You haven't been like full time? It's just been substituting all like these 5 years." You know? I don't know if that puts me in a bad position or not, and that's kind of that's something I think about. You know?
But then does the passion outweigh that? Like, do you feel like, oh, that will just solve it? It's like That's a future 5-year problem kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, 100%. So I wouldn't like change it at all, but I'm
Yeah.
just, it is in the back of my head for sure.
And is it the passion and the fun that drives you to keep living the way you're living?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, especially because I'm here as well, you know, it's like a super small village almost. There's
Mhm.
like 4,000 people here, and it's like far west of Norway. So I don't know. I don't think I would have been living here if I wasn't that into like either splitboarding or surfing. So
Yeah, I can relate to that because
yeah,
I live in Gaupne.
yeah. Where is that?
It's near Sogndal.
Oh, you live there?
Yeah, so I'm
No
I'm
way.
quite close to Turtle. I was at High Camp Festival because I
No
saw
way.
your video. Yeah.
No way. I was there too. Are you kidding
Yeah.
me?
No.
What the? What? That's so
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
No idea. I thought you were like in the US or something right now.
Oh no, I live in I'm from London living in Sogndal.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Jesus, that's funny. Wow, that
Yeah.
would have been fun to run into.
Yeah, because I really like the mountains. So that's why I was living first in Vågå, which is
Yeah.
the other side of Jotunheimen. Then I was living in Lillehammer, but I was like, oh, it's too town life. So
Yeah.
then I moved to Geilo, but I just wanted
Nice.
to change. So then I
No way.
moved to Sogndal because I like the backcountry skiing.
Yeah,
So here it's perfect. So you have Jotunheimen, Hurungene, and Jostedalen.
true. Are you in Sogndal right now, yeah?
Yeah,
What?
yeah, it's like a
Oh
farmhouse in the middle of
oh
nowhere.
my God. What? Look at you, all Norwegian now.
Yeah, I'm doing my best. The language is lacking.
It's
I'm from London and then moving here, and I've lived in a smaller place than this. Do you ever find it like lonely or isolating living somewhere so small?
oh yeah, I get what you mean, but I'm like freaking lucky that I have like a collective house
Yeah.
that I live in with like 4 other dudes. So
Oh,
when,
fun.
so much fun. So when I like come home, I'm like, it's always just fun, you know, laughter and hanging out.
Yeah.
So that makes it really easy. And then also the community here is really, I don't know, stoked about nature or surfing or climbing or whatever it will be. So I feel like there's a really good community here.
It's for me anyway, it's been quite hard to make friends in Sogndal actually.
Yeah,
Um, Especially ski friends.
yeah,
I skied mostly this year on my own.
yeah,
Because even when you're going into the mountains, you don't really meet anyone.
yeah.
But I do make friends in the car park. If I see someone, I'm like, hey, do you want a ski friend? They're like, sure.
Yeah. Yeah,
Or
nice, but I love that if you're like on it, then for sure there's like gonna make some links. But
yeah,
I feel like maybe if let's say you were like studying or like working like a regular job, like we talked about, you would most likely get more connections. But I feel like I don't know if that will, but maybe you're like freelancing a bit and also working on this podcast, so it's like not like your everyday work. It's like not maybe going to the office and meet colleagues or whatever. Is that true? I don't know.
yeah, exactly. So I work for myself, and that is part of the challenge is I'm not going into an office, so then you don't get those connections. So you really have to put yourself out into the community. But actually, funny you touched upon it. Part of the reason I'm doing the podcast is to make friends because I'm like,
Exactly. There you
I
go.
need
What do you
friends.
want now? We're
So I'm like,
official friends.
yes,
Thank you.
yeah. So I'm like, it's cool that I think would be fun to ski with, and then I'm just messaging everyone.
Wow, that's funny.
Yeah. So little do
Anyway.
you know, we might be friends after this,
Oh,
hopefully.
Sure.
So one of the reasons I'm also intrigued in the podcast as well is a lot of my clients, they have a passion on the side.
Yep.
And a lot of it is skiing. But
Yeah.
how do you recommend developing, as you went from park to splitboard, that must be quite different, or were you already doing the downhill stuff?
No, not the downhill stuff. No, only like park riding. So, you asked it about the transition, yeah, or what?
Yes, because I'm now seeing you ski very spicy things. And
Yeah,
I'm curious how you developed your skills
yeah,
to be able to ski stuff like that.
yeah. Okay, true. It's for sure, just like hours and hours snowboarding, like all from I was a kid, but like starting at like 9 until now. So I mean, park riding did help a lot, but I don't know. We call it, I don't know, getting used to the steeps. We call it like exposure therapy in a way. You gotta like be there a lot, and I don't know. I feel like the more you're exposed to it, the more used to it, I guess, and like the less scared you get each time, which can be a good and a bad thing. I don't know, getting used to it in a way, but also pushing a bit for sure, like pushing like the limits on what I'm comfortable doing. Like I've been working on, I don't know, doing dropping cliffs, for example. That has been like an issue of mine because I've been like so scared of falling. So mostly been sticking to like the turns and keeping the speed up. But like the jumping stuff is kind of, yeah, I don't know, something I'm progressing.
Yeah.
Mm.
So you're not the first one to talk about exposure therapy for
Yeah,
this
okay.
kind of skiing.
Yeah.
But you're the one to first put like that label on it, which is
Yeah.
interesting. And I've been gathering just from myself that I'm guessing this is going to be just being out in the mountains and building up the skills on the slopes as well. When you come to that point where you are doing fear in the mountains, what's your best way you found to manage that fear?
Well, good question. Like one is just being there long enough. If you're there like long enough, you kind of get used to it in a way. If it's like steep.
Do you mean when being there, like being there over days, or just like being there for 5 to 10 minutes
Yeah, in the moment. Yeah, yeah,
in the moment? Oh,
yeah.
interesting.
So yeah, for sure, more than 5 to 10. You know, when you're like at a steep line or something and you're at the top of it, get used to the steeps. One thing also I do a lot is walk up the same route I'm gonna ski. So you know that makes me like really think about every turn I want to make and every decision. But also it gets me kind of used to being in terrain that looks like this. You know,
Mm.
rather than walking around and you're keeping yourself on the flats. Let's say it's like a flat mountain around and then drops down like this, then you're at the top all of a sudden and you're like, wow, this is not makeable.
And when you're having those thoughts of, because I've never skied anything spicy like this, when you're really on those crazy drops that to most of us look absolutely insane, what kind of thoughts or feelings are you having?
Well, first of all, I'm a little caught up in filming. So that's one thing. I'm like stuck in the camera and like looking at or flying the drone or whatever. Keeps me a little calm in a way because I can like focus on getting a good photo. But then once I put all the camera gear down and we swap and the cameras are on me, then I'm like boom, 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 just instant, you know, kind of pulse racing.
I'm just really curious how you perform under pressure, as I'm asking you the questions. So when your pulse is racing, how do you get yourself geared up to then go down?
Yeah. So I don't like hitting myself in a way that works. I kind of like
Yeah.
hit my thighs or like go like that or something. Just hype up. It feels really awkward now, but that's for sure one thing I do. Just like punch myself or like pinch myself a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, like pump yourself up, like prep your nervous system almost, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah.
So then once you've like hit yourself and you've pumped yourself up, do you then just like go straight away, or are you thinking anything?
Yeah. Once you drop in, it's really blank. Really blank. Yeah. Yeah. It's moving on like instincts in a way.
Yeah, so then you're in the flow, I guess, the flow state.
Yeah. Exactly. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Ah, nice. Yeah, because I'm also curious. One of the things I'm always thinking about is how can we take mindset lessons from these sports and from the mountains and then
Cool.
transfer them to the boardroom, because that can be similar, although very different, obviously, but quite similar experiences. Like if my clients are walking into a big meeting, then their heart is pumping up and getting anxious or fearful or whatever.
Yeah.
It's interesting to hear from athletes such as yourself who are really doing those crazy things, what you guys do to get yourself into that flow state.
Yeah, true. But still, like if I'm having let's say not a like say a public speak or something like that.
Mhm.
Like it's the same thing for sure. Maybe even worse. It's like then the nerves are on. You
Yeah.
know, it's not until you're like start talking and you've been talking for 5 minutes that it kind of settles. For that, it's like the same as being there, or even worse, because then it's like tons of people there and like, fuck, I can't fuck up now.
I find the brain so interesting because, as you just said, like it feels the same, or if not more nerve-wracking to speak in front of people.
Yeah.
But to someone else, you could really seriously injure yourself. But then when you're speaking, it's like nothing like physically bad
Yeah.
could happen.
Yeah. True. Okay, so the physical damage for sure, yeah. But then again, if it like sucks, like you don't have to show it to anyone.
Yeah.
You're the only one that knows you're there, so and a couple
Yeah.
friends. So
Yeah.
maybe that helps a bit. I don't know.
Yeah. But it's also, I think, as you said, like what you're exposing yourself to. But it's
Yeah.
just interesting how the brain can create very similar reactions
Yeah.
to very different events. I'm a mindset coach. I'm always curious about that kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, but if you were doing like let's say public speaking then several times and you'd done like let's say you did a tour with like 10 and it was the same speech every time, you would feel way more chill on the last one than it was in the first one.
Yeah, exactly. I think that comes back to what you just said as well, exposing yourself to what your discomforts are to make it more comfortable. I really like that.
Yeah.
When you're looking at the lines you're going to ski, do you factor in risk?
Yeah. I mean, for sure. Like Avi is like way up there. That's number one, I guess, always.
Mhm.
And then like traumas or whatever, if you hit a rock or tomahawk or whatever. So for sure, that's a big part of like planning for a trip, making sure like, let's say the run out zones are clean. There's no trees or rocks, or ideally it would end on a glacier because glaciers are so flat. If there would be a slide, it really slides. It's like a pretty slide, not like it doesn't like wrap up in this, let's say a river or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a big part of planning, I'd say. And also once you're there, you're like, is this like acceptable? Or if something happens, are we like fucked?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're planning the trip, you're looking at the risks, minimizing them, and then I guess accepting certain risks
For sure.
as
Yeah.
well. Then when you get there, you're also communicating and making sure everyone's on the same page.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah. So like that's why group dynamics are so important. And I'm super lucky that we have such a good like crew that goes out, and we're almost the same crew every time, which makes
Mhm.
it so easy to talk and like discuss, and we know each other limits. We don't know like how we're gonna react in certain situations. Is this too much, too little, And that makes it a lot easier going into that kind of terrain because you trust your partners.
Yeah, that's really important, the trust factor. Out of curiosity, do you feel in your group dynamic, I think I probably know the answer to this, but in your group dynamic, do you feel safe to be vulnerable to those around you? Like if you're having a bad day, then you share it if you're feeling that maybe it's a bit on the edge for today. Are you comfortable sharing that with your group?
Yeah, for sure. Especially like the main crew I always am out
Mm.
with, but that's also the guys I'm living with. So
Oh, fun.
yeah, so we're really close like that. So yeah, we talk about everything. So
Yeah.
that is super chill. And you're walking up skinning and it takes freaking 4 hours, or like it takes forever. So yeah, good conversations, yeah, happens a lot. And I feel like we're open to sharing and talking about maybe some guy have been dumped or the other way or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really love that. The reason I was asking is because it's come up a few times with my clients where they feel embarrassed or ashamed that maybe they cried after a triggering event or something.
Okay.
And I feel there's more strength when we're able to be vulnerable with when we feel safe, we can then be vulnerable and then share what we're feeling or reach out for help. And I think that's really important. So it's really cool to hear that that's the relationship you guys have as well.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I haven't really been in like a trauma accident, like a big one, except one that was pretty gnarly, but that was like a friend of mine fell down, and it was like, yeah, super disaster kind of moment with like a lot of things in the knees were torn, with the heli rescue and everything. And that was like the first time I've been like, yeah, really, really shaky. And, we had to talk that through a lot after it happened, because it was like very traumatizing, especially for the person it happened to. So, yeah.
When you're looking back on that event, if you don't mind me asking, were you happy with how you reacted or responded in that kind of, because it's a very, like, we never know until we're in a situation like that, do we?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for me, that was the right call for me to take action in a way, like especially not freak out. That was like a big part, because I knew where she kind of landed up. There was already one guy. We always have the radio communication on. So I remember, we called the heli, and I kind of kept my calm while I still was on top. But when the heli moved in, I also called a couple friends, because like other people were in the mountain and other mountain ranges. And I was like, just calling them to make sure, like, yo, there's a heli moving. We had a incident, just so you guys know. So it wouldn't be like a big happening at the news at the end of the day. But I don't know. I felt like I could keep my cool there in the moment. But for sure, when we got back, like we really like thought through it, and I've been thinking a lot, the last when I've been out ever since that. Like that was like a proper wake up call for like when bad stuff happens. Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand. That's really great that you guys all spoke about it after. It's so valuable, and then you can get everything that you need to share, get out.
Yeah.
And move through those feelings. Has anything, like after that experience, did you do anything different in the mountains to be safe? Not sure.
Yeah. No, for sure. Like I was a little bit young when I started as well. Like I think I was 20 when I had my first splitboarding trip, and I'm 25. And just in those years, I feel like I have kind of like raised the, what should I say, like the risk tolerance in a way, because I'm now like realizing like, okay, this is like, I'm imagining the worst case scenario, And I think that is a good strategy. Just thinking about it, what is the worst thing that could happen here? Because once you move from that, you can kind of start to break it down and like, okay, how likely is this?
Yeah, because you need to have a plan for when things does go wrong. It's been really interesting because we've spoken about the exposure therapy, about managing fear, about the risk as well, and how to just ignore those should voices. What would be your advice as we're wrapping up for someone who would like to live their own wild life? So live life aligned to their true self, but maybe they've been suppressing or ignoring or listening to the shoulds of the world. And they're like, oh, I just want to do something a bit different. What would your advice be for them?
Oh, wow. That's a good question, huh? Good grand finale question.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Just wrapping up all the thoughts. Yeah. I would say for me, the easiest thing being able to commit to the snowboard path is having the backup. That is like a big must for me. That has been like the main goer of that I can do what I want, I'd say that is my biggest go-to for sure.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing everything with us. It's been really wonderful getting to know you better and hearing how you've been following your own, I'm calling it your own wild. I'm hoping it'll catch on. But like your own inner truth, your inner self, and living life on your own terms.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for listening to the conversation with Emil and the Masterclass. If you have any questions from the Masterclass, from the conversation, post them in the comments below, or any thoughts you may have, post them in the comments on the podcast, or you can slide into my DMs. I will answer any questions, any dilemmas in the Wild episode, which, yes, is coming out this week. It's been a lot harder actually to maintain the podcast on the road, so that's on me. I will be doing better. Thank you so much for listening. Please rate, review, subscribe. I have 5 stars coming up, which is so exciting. If you would like to download the Escape the Burnout Protocol, 4 power moves to help you gain clarity around where you are spending your time and energy and how you can shift that in a more positive way. And the link to that is in the show notes. And if you'd like to work with me, either through my online program or through one-to-one coaching, then check out the links in the show notes below. Thank you so much for listening. Stay wild.